Hello and welcome to another video. Today I'll be demonstrating how to replace the display panel on a Lenovo ThinkPad T14 Gen 1 AMD laptop. And this panel was ordered from laptopscreen.com. If you're living in Canada or North America, this vendor is a pretty solid choice. Just for reference, here's the website with my order. And this panel was $94 Canadian, and if I were to order more, there would be bulk discounts, so pretty good value for a guy like me. Shipping costs are totally reasonable as well. They included these adhesive strips, which we'll need later on at no charge, so that's a pretty good bonus. Back to the install. First thing we want to do is flip this thing over and remove the back panel. For this, you'll need a Phillips head screwdriver, and I've already loosened the screws in preparation for this install. For reference, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And using something like a plastic guitar pick or this iFixit tool, we can score along the palm rest to remove the plastic clips holding in this bottom panel. Just be gentle and don't apply too much pressure. So the next thing we want to do is disconnect the battery from the motherboard, just so there's no chance of shorting anything out. And now I'm going to put the bottom panel back on just because we'll be resting the laptop on this surface and I don't want to damage the motherboard or any components attached to it. With the laptop open again, let's go back to using that plastic guitar pick or iFixit tool. Unfortunately, this display panel bezel is pretty thin and flimsy. You want to be careful doing this. There's just glue holding it on. So let's gently score along the edge here that you can see that goes all the way around the entire display. My bad, I said glue, but I actually meant little plastic clips. We don't want to break those off because when you go to put this flimsy thing back on, it may not stay on at all. So now that we have that bezel off, you can see that there's 4 blue tabs at the top, and that would be the aforementioned adhesive strips. And what you want to do is just gently grab the tab and we want to pull it up. Now we don't want to do it too hard and too fast, otherwise you will break the adhesive strip and it will make removal of the panel that much harder. Well, as you can see, just the tab broke off. I didn't even pull that hard. This is just further testament to a design that I really don't like. I wish there were just some screws holding it in place. It would make this much easier. So the one thing that we have going for us is this is, of course, a display panel that doesn't work. I'm not really too worried about destroying it. I'm going to use this metal tool also from an iFixit kit, and we'll just dig it down and try to gently remove the panel without damaging the laptop casing itself or any wires that you see running along the panel. First, let's try and get this one last adhesive strip out. Just a note, be gentle because there is a display connection down here that you don't want to yank out. Pulling that off without pulling out the strips actually wasn't that bad. I'm going to go ahead and remove these strips that are stuck to the casing. All right, here's the cable connection to the motherboard. First, you can see there's a little bit of tape here that we can gently lift up with this tool. Gently lift up just like this, and we'll use that to pull the cable out this way. So something that I like to do when replacing panels is take a microfiber cloth, lay it over top the keyboard, and that ensures that we're not going to be scratching up the new panel, despite there still being the film over here that we'll remove later on. We're just going to plug this thing in and test it out and see if it works. Now simply what we do is plug that cable in. So now we're ready to test this thing out. Let's place the panel back down here, take away the cloth, and we're not going to be plugging the battery in, of course. We're just going to plug in the power adapter, and let's hope for the best. All right, and we're in business. So in between this shot and the last, I actually did plug the battery back in. I just didn't document it, and I put the bottom panel back onto the laptop. And it looks like the SSD that I installed already has Windows on it, so we're just going to let that boot, and we'll come back with an update in just a moment. Alright, so the panel is actually looking really good. Let's get that bezel back on, and actually this is a good moment to point something else out. So some of the adhesive has dried up a little bit on this bezel, and it's going to probably puff out or look weird once I put it back onto the top panel. Another thing you can purchase from laptopscreen.com is the adhesive to fasten things like that back onto the laptop chassis.
Right now that like works.
Alright, the bezel is back on and the job is complete. I think we'll sign off now. I'm going to reinstall Windows 11 just because this SSD came out of an older ThinkPad, and I'm just going to do a fresh install just for a fresh start. So hopefully this video helped you out. If you have any questions, leave them below in the comments. Otherwise, I hope you have a great day.